Yeah. You are tuned in to Offering Something. I am your host, Michael Bernier, feeling so good to be alive. That is for sure. Offering Something brought to you with support by Enjoy Your Life brand. Everything at Enjoy Your Life brand. Also by Riverwalk Brewing at Riverwalk Brewing. Delicious beer. And also by the Higher Education Music and Arts Festival at Higher Education Music Festival. Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button for me. You know I love you for that. That's for sure. All right. We have an epic episode in store for you today. That is the truth, with a guest who is a selfless soul, a visionary, a fighter for universal food access, a change management master, an executive director, a queen of compassion, yeah, a loving neighbor, and a joy of an individual. It is my delight to introduce to y'all Lyndsey Haight from Our Neighbor's Table. How are you, Lyndsey?
Wow. That's a lot to live up to. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, you're doing it. You're living it. You feel good today?
I feel good. I feel even better after that kind of introduction. Thank you.
All right, let's talk. What is it you love about Mahatma Gandhi?
Well, you know, I mean, I think
Am I on point to be asking this question?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Right.
I mean, I think obviously I never knew him. And,
Right.
And his time preceded my time.
Correct.
But the mantra that I carry, and I couldn't even tell you exactly when it came into my brain and when I was exposed to it, but you know, the idea that the universe provides for everyone's need.
Yeah.
And greed, unfortunately, gets in the way, but so those are words I live by. All
right, let's walk right out to the edge of the diving board here and jump in. Okay, you like that? That's clever.
Sure.
You're the executive director for Our Neighbor's Table. Accurate? Yeah. Now, Our Neighbor's Table has been providing nourishing food, compassion, and community to neighbors since 1992. Now, give me some numbers. What kind of impact, what kind of dollars have been raised over the course of that time, if you're aware of that, and what has it turned into actually? What is the impact?
Well, I can tell you, I would say over 28 years now, to almost 29 years, we have probably put out more than 15 million meals to people in our region. Last year alone, we put out 1.1 million meals and put food on the table and in the mouths of 5,000 of our neighbors last year. So, you know, it started with 8 people coming to dinner.
Serious numbers, yeah. It started with, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it started with 8 people. It started with 15 community members who wanted to make a difference, and 8 people came to dinner. And now it's 5,000 people who unfortunately turned to us, but 5,000 people that we can impact.
You can help, yeah.
Help, yeah.
All right, let's take it way back. Where were you when you were released from your mother's womb?
That would be in Lowell, Massachusetts.
In Lowell, Mass? Yeah, look at that. Is that where you grew up?
I grew up in the greater Lowell area.
Was there a specific town you kind of stayed in?
Dracut and Tingsboro.
Okay.
My childhood was kind of split between the two, and family in Tewksbury. So, you know, a little time in Lowell, a little bit of everywhere in there.
So what's the community, the environment there? Working class, wealthy, poor?
No, very much working class.
Working class situation.
Yeah. My dad was, you know, my dad and his dad were union carpenters, and my mom, you know, was a working mom. You know, my parents separated when I was really young, and she worked full time, that 9 to 5. You know, and
I see.
Instilled that sense of independence in me.
So what was your schooling?
I grew public school.
Yep.
Right, straight through.
Dracut High School or something like this?
I graduated from Tingsboro High School. We moved
Tingsboro
there in
High
junior
School.
high. So graduated from Tingsboro High, and then
a straight A student.
I did graduate second in my class.
Yeah,
by
look at
like
you.
0.05. The GPA was like a 0.05 difference.
Wow. Good for you. You're upset about second, but I'm happy for you.
Hey, you know, the girl who got first, she deserved it. She worked really hard for it.
And then you went on to college. All types of college.
Yeah, I am actually the first person in my immediate family to graduate from college.
Wow.
My dad actually dropped out of high school.
Did they love you for that, or did they kind of like, oh, there's Lyndsey, all right, schoolgirl, college girl?
I will say,
catch some shade.
My father instilled, from the word I could say college, and perhaps because he never graduated from high school, he instilled in me that I was going to college. I didn't even know what college was, but I was going to college. And I'll tell you, in junior high, I got a 3 in effort on a report card. I got straight A's, but I got a 3 in effort. Oh. And he called a parent-teacher conference.
He's like, "What's going on here?"
And I was horrified, and it turned out it was a mistake. I got math's effort grade. Maybe or not, I don't know. Bruce McMaster, thank you for switching it for me. So it was instilled in me at a young age that I was going to college. Yeah. But I think that in some ways, some of my family members maybe at a really young age, I had an awareness of the world, and sort of wanted to leave my small town. And I think that there was just like an inability to relate to that.
Yeah.
So my family, I credit my family with all the love and support that I have had. We didn't have much, but I had love, and I had people around me.
Are they all still in Drake and Tingsboro area?
Yep, pretty much. Or, in a 20-mile radius thereof, yes.
So what was the first college?
I went down to Drew University in New Jersey, which is a small liberal arts school. And that was good, but my father was ill at the time, so I wanted to be closer to home. And I didn't really relate. It was a different class of people, not so much
Drew?
A working class school.
I got you.
And I don't know, I didn't quite fit in.
It's like slightly elite.
Yeah, sort of. Like one of my friends, her father was the president of QVC.
Okay, these kinds of things going on.
Yeah.
You felt out of place there.
A little bit, yeah. As a blue collar family, like, I don't know, I had to be productive. I really loved learning. I still am like a student. I love to learn. I love it. But my learning has to be tied to the real world in some way. Yeah. And so I couldn't quite figure out how to turn a philosophy major into a job. And I had to work. I mean, I put myself through college. I've been working since I was in the 5th grade. I had my first paper route.
Your first paper route? Look at
and
you.
I've been
Bicycle, the big strap thing over the shoulder.
With the basket to hold my papers in the back of my Huffy. I was not the cool kid.
You and your Huffy. That's a great visual. So how long do you last at Drew? You're there for
a year and a half.
A year and a half. You come home, your dad's ill, and now you're going to what college?
Plymouth State.
Plymouth State.
Yep, and I graduated from Plymouth State.
I hear a lot of people don't graduate from there. It has a party reputation. Was that accurate?
I was there the year of the riots.
Okay.
That was my final year on campus. Was the year of the riots, which I watched from afar from my rooftop apartment. But yeah. It's beautiful up there, though. I mean, I love the mountains and the peacefulness of it all up there.
Yeah.
I try to get up there when I can.
But again, you weren't there for long?
So I did graduate from there.
You graduated.
I got my bachelor's in social work from Plymouth State, so I was able to
You felt that social work was very concentrated.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was my 5th major.
Wow.
Right? So for those people who are thinking they don't know where they're going.
Yeah. So how many years in total? Did you still accomplish this in 4 years?
I did 5 years, but I got to spend my last year, I got to spend some time in Guatemala and then some time in the field and doing some social work. So I made the most of my 5th year, but like one of those technicalities, timing. That kind of thing.
And was that the end of schooling for you, Plymouth State College?
Nope.
Nope.
Where
were we next, Lyndsey?
Because I had so much money to just blow. I'm still paying for it. But
Should have made some friends at
college,
Drew.
Right?
Yeah.
It is who you know. I have learned that. So out of college, I actually went to work for the state of Massachusetts as a social worker, child welfare caseworker.
Okay.
And while I was there, I decided to go back for my master's, another state school, Salem State.
Look at that.
And and I ended up leaving the department and kind of becoming a full-time student and grad assistant and finished my master's from Salem State.
Right.
And that was in
Were you living in Salem then?
I did live in Salem.
Yeah.
When I was working at the Salem office
Here we
of
go.
DSS. Salem was
You're
a wild
associated
town.
with these party schools.
Yeah, I was always
see
like
a
on the
pattern
outskirts,
here, Lynn.
though. Yeah. No, they're always fun times. Those times carry with you.
At some point, you develop this inner calling to help people. You want to do good for others. Like when was that? What age was this? Amidst this, like where you really knew, like, I'm not just like studying this. I am passionate to implement this, and I need to.
It actually way predates college. And it's funny because I have this really vivid memory of when I was like 10.
Okay.
And I was we had a little apartment above a little variety store in Drake-it.
Nice.
And brown shag
What's
rug.
the name of the variety store?
It used to be Junior's Variety.
Okay.
And now it's Billy's.
Okay.
It's right on.
You like Junior's.
Right on
you don't really
110.
like Billy's. Yeah.
It was Billy's after. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
And we had a little TV, and my mom worked full time, and at that point, she had remarried, so she and my stepfather lost an earring.
Earring down. Good side to lose it on.
Yeah. She wasn't home. He wasn't home. My sister and I would come home to an empty house and watch TV a lot. And you probably remember this, but there used to be all these commercials. This was in the 80s, and there were all these commercials about Africa.
Yeah,
And
USA for Africa.
in Ethiopia. Yeah, UNICEF, and Oxfam. And I remember, like, I was watching Mighty Mouse, and all of a sudden this commercial comes on, and there are these children, like,
clearly suffering.
Clearly. I still see it in my brain.
I have it in my head too.
Yeah, and I was just so struck by that, and I didn't know where Africa was at that point in time. It was probably some time before I learned where it was, and I had was this on the same planet that I was living in? And but it was then that fire lit in my belly. And
10 years old, you looked at that and you're like, "That's not right. I got to do something. Something's gonna happen about that. That can't be going on."
So it took me a long time, and my mom would get Greenpeace magazines and different things, and I was the oldest in my immediate family. I'm the oldest. My parents were the oldest or second oldest in their siblings, so I always got to sit at the adult table. My family always welcomed me, and maybe to their dismay, I would speak up.
Were you on like the hippie side of this? Were you wearing patchwork pants and these kind of things, and slightly rebellious with your approach to this?
Not so much. Okay. No, I mean, we were a practical family. We're pragmatic, like work. My grandfather worked at Sears, most of his career. My grandmother worked. My mom worked in the computer industry. Still works in the computer industry. And my father was a carpenter. We're practical people. So, my fashion every now and then might stray, but I'm a pragmatic person. We didn't have a lot, so I remember in high school, when I graduated from high school, you have your little bio. Because I was one of the top students, you put a little bio in the program.
When you're one of the top students, I'm like, I don't know what that is.
I talked about justice. I said, I am, I want to, I don't know, find justice in the world. I didn't even know, I definitely had somewhat of a sheltered upbringing.
Of course, and very common for those areas. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe you go to Florida, and then that's about it.
I did go to Florida like twice.
Yeah,
you know, we
exactly.
we went camping. We all got in the car. We drove. We went camping. That was what we got to do for a vacation.
So, what was your first legitimate undertaking in the nonprofit in this world? Like, what was the first job?
You know, I think really my first exposure was going to Guatemala.
Okay.
And I went there to learn to speak Spanish. But I didn't want to, you know, just go to Spain. I wanted to go somewhere where I could really sort of dig in and get involved in global justice. And, I mean, it's just a totally different planet, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a totally different economy and a totally different way of life. It was amazing.
I haven't been to Guatemala, so I can't comment on that.
It's amazing, you know, and I did actually live in a city in the mountains that was kind of more of like a working class city, which is kind of rare.
What's the name of the city?
It's called Quetzaltenango, or Xelajú for short.
Gotcha.
And I lived with a family, and we worked in a little pueblo right outside the city. We would go and tutor in math and stuff.
Wow.
In a little, I mean, village is a strong word. It was basically a collection of 5 lean-tos.
Yep.
And, you know, every day we'd walk up the hill, and there would be little girls and their grandmothers in jelly shoes carrying like buckets of water up the hill. Yeah. And here we are like, in our hiking boots and
very prepared with all the gear.
Right.
How long were you there?
So I was there for a couple months. My trip was cut short because actually my father passed away while I was abroad. Well, I got to come back, but and then I tried to go back for a little bit. So in total, about 2.5, 3 months.
And that had a great impact on the rest of your life.
You don't come back to the States the same way after living that way.
Very good. So, at what point did you get to Our Neighbor's Table? Like, how did that come to be? Like, they scout you out, you scout them out. Like, how does this relationship develop?
My dentist.
Your dentist?
You know, the way it always happens.
What do you mean? People talk to the dentist outside of that little chamber they put you in?
Yeah, my husband was talking to the dentist. I'm like, how do you talk to the dentist?
Who's doing
She's
that?
in your mouth. So fast forward. So to, I don't know, 2009.
Okay.
So I had been working. I worked in Boston. I ran an organization in Dorchester for 7 years, and that was my first
Dorchester Cares. What was it called?
Dorchester Cares, Coalition for Families and Children. So that was really exciting. That actually really got to apply kind of what I'm passionate about, the social work field, and really putting people in charge of their lives and helping to change the system. When I worked for the state, I don't know, I just saw so many things broken about the way our system treats people who are poor. So when I left and graduated from grad school, I actually got to go to work for an organization that worked to change the system.
I see.
And I sort of quickly elevated to the executive director by accident, by like being the last one to take my thumb off the table. And that was really powerful. But after several years, I got really burnt out really fast. I was only in my 20s. And so I got burnt out, did some different stuff. And then I was doing a job that I was traveling a lot, and I had just gotten married. Mm-hmm. And, you know, these are things that as a woman, you think about, like, how am I going to start a family first of all, how am I supposed to start a family if my husband and I aren't even in the same time zone? And so just science there.
Maybe there's a way out.
So, you know, I decided, okay, well, I can't keep doing that. And so we had just bought a house in Amesbury.
Amesbury, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts, yep. And once I moved to Salem, I couldn't leave the coast.
Right.
So I went from the mountains to the ocean, and I went everywhere from Salem to Portsmouth, and I ended up in Amesbury. And so I was thinking, what am I going to do? Like, what work is there for me in this area, and how am I going to do this? And if I want to start a family, you know, I'm already upper management. There's a lot of things that for women, you know, not that men don't have to think about it, but for women, like, it's
More
where am I
challenging
going to start working and then want to get pregnant? And so it just so happened.
That's right.
My husband knew I was struggling with this, and I went to the dentist, and she just cleaned my teeth. And a week later, my husband went to the dentist.
He comes home with a job for you.
And he came home with a sticky note and said, "Hey, the dentist said you should really call this woman, Rosie Werner." He's like, "This is her cell phone." And I said, "Oh, okay." And, I guess this is how small towns work. And so I called her, and sure enough, she was the volunteer executive director at our neighbor's table before me. And she was retiring. She'd already worked in the healthcare field her whole life, and then retired from that and became a volunteer executive director for our neighbor's table. Yeah. Did that for 9 years and wanted to retire. And they wanted to hire someone who had professional experience.
Was going to turn this into a legitimate operation.
Yeah, just be able to keep up with demand. Yeah. So I was blown away. So I met with her, and then I met everybody else that she was working with, and I was like, these people walk the walk.
Yeah.
First of all, I was blown away by how many people they were serving already at that point. I mean, we were already serving 1,000 people back in 2009.
You're like, they're actually doing it. I'm seeing it happen.
Lift up the rocks. Who, in Amesbury, in Newburyport, who would you think? And so I will tell. So I started on February 1st, 2010.
Yep.
And a year exactly to the day, on February 1st, 2011, my first son was born.
Wow.
So literally, and I was pretty open. I said, hey, whatever, they could hire me part-time. And I said, well,
thinking about,
balance, family
growing
balance
a baby
is important. And sure enough, 4 months into the job, I had to go to them and say, I'm pregnant. And they threw me an amazing baby shower.
Oh my golly.
Me quilts and I
what
was
nice
just thought,
people.
how could I ever leave this place? And then a few years later, I had a second kid, and
the same royal treatment.
Oh, of course. I mean, they're all just
catered.
Waiting. And, and I say this a lot. I just said it in a training earlier tonight. I get to spend every day with the best of humanity.
Yeah.
So it's
that's a great way to feel.
Oh,
wow.
It's an amazing experience.
Of course.
Yes.
Wow. So you kind of touched on this. A lot of people look at Amesbury as a community that's well off, and it doesn't necessarily need what you're doing as much as a place like Lynn or Lawrence or Dorchester would. Now, that's not the case. Can you explain how many people are actually in need and coming out that are from the community to take these meals?
Yeah. So just in Amesbury, since 2012, through the recovery, before COVID, consistently every year, we're more than 1 out of 10 Amesbury residents turns to ONT for.
1 out of 10 people.
At least.
So there's definitely a need. So people can never question that again. So what you're doing is immediately affecting the community right outside of your door.
Literally, of course. I mean, my neighbors, my kids' friends, knock on wood right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone through our hard times since we've been living there, but knock on wood, I thought, well, gosh, I know where I'll get food. But we serve 12 communities actually.
Yeah.
And so just a little bit more about Amesbury.
Wait, what's the first building you were in here? What's the actual location when you first go into Our Neighbor's Table for your meeting them for the job interview? What's that place like?
Well, actually, the first meeting that I had with Rosie, just to kind of check it out. Yeah, and if you're from Amesbury, you know who Rosie is.
Yeah.
She's this power.
I don't know you, Rosie. I love you.
She's this force of a woman. She's from Waterford, Ireland, and she, you don't say no to Rosie. I think someday they will erect a statue that says you don't say no to Rosie. And she's just amazing. And so I got to meet with her. It was in the dining room. So we used to be based out of the Main Street Congregational Church, which is right next to the Amesbury Public Library, which local people know what I'm talking about. But
like a little downstairs kind of basement.
We were literally the pastor's closet in the back of the main church sanctuary building.
Yes.
I
was in that space once. Yes.
It's like got paneling on the wall.
It's like you're in the past.
The rug. Yeah. I don't think the rug had been changed
78,
since
82.
Yeah. So, and the dining room is kind of nondescript, sort of, functional. And so I sat with her. It was just the two of us on folding chairs in the middle of this big room. And
at that point on that day, what was presented to you as the mission of Our Neighbor's Table at that time on that first day? You asked a question, or they told you like what we're trying to accomplish. What was it?
I think what really first came across to me was her pride in and practicality. We got people to feed. People are coming here. They come to dinner on Wednesday nights. We put this dinner on, and then we give them groceries out of our pantry, and we just make this happen. And there wasn't a lot of pretense.
So it was clear,
it was like,
dead
this
set,
is
we
what
give
do.
You food. Yeah.
This is what we do, and we
Feeding
have volunteers who just do it all. And then when I got to meet some of the volunteers and go to a dinner for the first time, like, wow, she wasn't joking. Like, people just make things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've since moved to a new location in Amesbury, and let's talk about the new spot. How did that come to be? How was it funded? Do you love it there?
Yes.
Was it a fun process?
Yeah, it was part of my charge. When I was hired, they knew. So it was 2010 when I started. So the recession was really starting to impact our local area. And people were lining up and they were standing in line for hours. And we didn't have enough space for all the food. And so, the board that hired me, they knew, like, we need something different.
That was the motivation for the new location.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it took us almost 5 years to find the new location. It was actually
5
at the
years?
end of 2014.
What do you mean? What are you doing for 5 years?
Looking, because when, food is heavy.
Yeah, so you needed it to be right.
1 million pounds of food, you can't put that on the second story.
Correct.
Right? You can't move it up and down stairs. You don't want the second story to fall in. So
and you don't want to do that, right?
We had particular needs that I think people don't really think about how the sausage is made. But there are a lot of details behind the scenes. It's all logistics. Like when you think about market basket.
I clearly was surprised that it took you 5 years.
Yeah, how Stop and Shop works. Like you just think you walk down the aisle and you grab your groceries and you go to the checkout counter. Well, there's a whole lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. And
yes, of course.
I didn't learn any of it in social work school. I couldn't have imagined the way that this new facility would have come to us. And a gentleman named Greg Jardis.
Greg Jardis,
who owns Amesbury Industrial Supply.
Hello, Greg.
Who is yet another pillar of the Amesbury community.
Oh, Greg.
He knew that we were looking.
You, buddy.
I don't know if he's watching this.
Yeah, it's really nice when people say nice things about when you're not around, Greg. Carry on.
Oh, I have no problem saying nice things to Greg's face. He knew that we were looking.
Yes.
And in fact, he was kind of letting us squat in some empty commercial space that he had.
Okay.
With some overflow inventory.
Yeah.
And one day, so we were actually thinking about buying his building.
Yes.
We were going to raise money and buy the building from him. And one day he walked into my very humble office, and I tried not to trip trying to get out from behind my desk. And we had to go into the sanctuary of the church because that was the only place where we could have privacy.
Let's go to the sanctuary, get some privacy.
So we're standing like where the choir
He's like, oh, all right.
And the cross is on the wall.
Geez, I really got to be nice in
I'm
here.
looking at the cross over his shoulder, and there he is. And I was raised, in a Catholic church, so I respect the space that we were standing in.
Oh, you liked the scene. You were comfortable with it. Yeah.
He said, I went to talk to my lawyer. Nothing ever good comes of that.
Yeah.
I went to talk to my lawyer, and we talked it over, and the building is yours. Yeah, that's exactly what I
Wait,
and it's like, are the angels singing? Am I dying?
Jesus.
What is happening? Don't jump into his arms, Lyndsey. Stay on the ground.
Did you ask a question after, like, excuse me?
So and he said, it's yours. And I'm sure I said repeatedly, are you kidding? I don't think I dropped any bad words, but, are you kidding? For real? Okay. Now, of course, I'm a very cool, and Greg will tell you, I'm usually in control of the moment.
You kept it cool.
I keep my cool.
Yeah.
Couldn't see what was going on. I said, well, of course, I have to go to the board and bring this to them and make sure they're cool
okay
accepting this.
Us taking a building.
So then I called my board together in the sanctuary because, again, we don't have a place to meet. It was a Wednesday night. The dinner was going on. So my board is sitting in the choir chairs of the church. And I said, well, hey, what's the right price tag for this? How about 0?
Wow.
And they all looked at me.
Did you make it fun at all? Or did you just
I definitely did. And they were like, what?
How about less?
Yeah.
Less.
Well, they thought I was, because remember, now I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
And I said, I need to call an emergency board meeting.
They thought you were out.
So they all thought I was leaving.
He's done. Wow.
And lo and behold, and then that was right before Thanksgiving. So I told Greg, yes, we'll take it. And then he went away to visit his family for Thanksgiving, and he came back and he caught me in the parking lot. And he was like, oh, I was looking for you. I wanted to talk to you. I've been thinking. And I thought, oh, crap. Second thoughts. He said, I just don't really feel good about this situation. I'm thinking.
He's going to back out?
He's backing out. He said, I don't feel good. And he gave us a very large financial gift to get the construction going because he didn't feel good giving it to us in the state it was in.
Yeah, he's like, it's not really what you want.
And at that point,
You're
I
taking
did
it
ask him if he had been to the doctor recently and if there was anything seriously wrong with him.
You're like, are you all right?
Is this is your daughter going to tell me that your erratic behavior is, explained by something?
Wow.
And that was the beginning. What's the line from the movie? This is the beginning of a very wonderful friendship.
Yeah.
And I do consider Greg somebody very near and dear.
So he made a large financial contribution that allowed for the new construction is what we ended up with, correct?
Yeah, we basically tore the building down to the dirt and had to reconstruct it because it was a laundromat and a video store. And then we turned it into this beautiful market, and it was really a collaboration. Our guests who shop for groceries and our volunteers, and we just laid it out. We said, all right, what do you want this to be like?
It's exciting.
And what do people want? They want to be able to just go to the grocery store. Yeah. So we built a little grocery store, the market, and we have a warehouse and a small office area, so we could actually hire some staff because we were growing. And what we learned, if you build it, they will come.
They will come.
And we projected out, and they came today. And it was fun.
Explain to me this first, the market. Just a regular market? Is this specific for people who are in need to shop there? How does it work?
All of the food inside is free.
Okay.
We have been compared to a Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's, so that gives you an idea of the aesthetic.
You're providing quality foods for people. It's not let's just give them some Twinkies and
quality
tell them
is one of our
food.
top 4 core values.
Wow.
We are
in the top 4.
We ask our guests, what do you need from us? You're in charge of your family. If I were to tell you, Michael Bernier, what you should feed your kids, if anybody tried to tell me what I should feed my kids.
Beans and greens.
Yeah. So we ask them, what do you need from us? We have limited resources, limited space.
Yeah.
What do we need to prioritize? And overwhelmingly, since 2011, since we started asking them, they said, we need fresh fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
We need meat. We need milk and eggs and cheese. The things that we all know we should be eating, but they're the most expensive thing at the grocery store. And so when we built the new market and the warehouse, we made sure that we had the capacity to put fresh produce front and center, to put meat and dairy.
I could see that coolers. In the photographs that I saw of the place. Yeah. Really nice.
And so the other thing that we stopped doing that is traditionally done in a food pantry.
Yes.
And usually for logistical reasons, but sometimes also because we don't trust the people we serve. We ask them to trust us, but sometimes we don't trust them, is we don't ration our food.
Ah.
So if when you go to the grocery store, you kind of start with like your core things and you say, I'm going to make this dinner for the week, right?
Yeah.
And if you're disciplined, then you say, I'm going to make this and I'm going to buy all the ingredients to go with it. But if I have a family of 4, I need a lot more of something versus it's just me.
You're not asking for proof of how many members are in your family, questioning
we don't qualify
anyone.
people. If you show up and you want to shop or you show up and you want to eat dinner with us, welcome. Like, here you are.
And has there ever been a time where you felt like there has been an issue? Has anyone ever abused? I don't know how you would abuse, but
in
have you ever felt
28
this?
years, has someone come when they maybe had enough money? I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
never to a problematic
rarely. And, if somebody comes, even if they have enough money, we've actually had people who come to dinner and eat with us every Wednesday night, and they'll put $15 in the donation bin, which is... more than they might have spent if they bought that meal.
I'm going to come eat, but I'm going to also provide support for this. But they're coming from the sense
of community, and they're coming to sit down with their neighbors. And, sometimes, like, you might be coming because you're in dire straits, and now you're back on your feet, but you just need that connection to the lifeline, right? That you know that if I fall down again, I still have this connection, so maybe I'll only come, like, once or something. But who am I to say? I mean... When we ration food, we encourage hoarding.
Correct.
Because you have to come.
Totally.
You have to come 10 times to get enough green beans to give your kids. Everybody gets to have green beans tonight.
Yep. It encourages a lot of other things, like jealousy, looking at someone else's cut. Like,
right.
He gets 4. What?
So the reason why people lie is because they have to lie in order to get help. So we just take that away. Like, we don't disqualify you. So there's no incentive to lie. We don't, you just come, you want food, you get food. You get what you need. I don't tell you.
I like that. I like the system.
When we had one program, we would pack a bag.
Yep.
And then we'd go to Vermat's, the local market, and half the stuff would be in the donation bin. Because people at least wanted to give it to someone else who wanted it, but they were like, what am I going to do? I can't use this flour, or I don't eat cereal, and so they would give it back. Oh. So we try to cut down on waste too.
So from when you started out in the basement or wherever it was in the
closet,
in the closet of the church, until to this point where you are, has the amount of money that you've been able to raise increased tremendously as a result of your efforts and your team's efforts? So 10 years ago when you were there versus now, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Tenfold.
So we were, it's funny, you don't really think about nonprofits to talk about it in this way, but when I came on, we were about a $200,000 a year organization.
Yep.
Like that's what it costs for our operations and food costs. And we were maybe putting out about 250,000 meals a year. And now, we are, if you count all the in-kind food product, it's about a $2.5 million operation.
What percentage of the food is in-kind donations?
Almost all of our food we're able to get at no purchase cost.
Right.
But it's an operational cost, like our trucks have to be on the road every day. But so we get about, if I were to have to go and buy the food that we get, it would cost me about $3 million just in food costs alone. If I had to go and buy all the product that I get at no cost, it would be about $3 million in expenses. So we get about that. And then we have our cash operating budget is about $1.2 million.
Wow, serious growth. Yeah.
It is. And, we have a small staff of about 12 employees, but then we have 800 active volunteers, and they're the ones who are operating every day. The staff are just kind of the ones that keep the ship heading in the right direction and make sure everybody has an oar.
The day-to-day is happening.
Make sure the sails are up and the wind is blowing right and, all that stuff. There was a board member. He's not on the board anymore, but he always spoke in metaphors. And it was a thing. Like we
Can
were
I get some examples rolling here?
Jim is talking in metaphors again. And then when he
Silly
retired
Jim.
from the board, it was like he took over my body.
Wow.
No, I talk in metaphors. And one of my staff,
Mrs. Metaphor?
I speak in metaphors. I get just the ship. And just yesterday, one of my staff members, she started speaking in metaphors.
Oh my
and I said,
gosh.
It's over. Sorry. Welcome to middle age.
Yeah. That's what Jim brings. I like it. So I had Dan Pallotta. Do you know him?
Yeah.
I had Dan Pallotta in here. He was recording a TED Talks for NPR.
Yeah.
And he's like a mastermind in the nonprofit sector, like
we've
total
gone
genius.
To his Boulder board trainings.
Yeah. So he's
part
right
of
here.
my board orientation, actually.
Wow.
They watch his TED Talk.
Okay.
My board members. It's like, this is how we operate. We operate like a business. You want a return, you got to invest.
This is exactly why I brought this up.
Yeah.
So it's like
so
people,
funny.
and he
was here.
He started from the foundation of people questioning, why are people getting paid if they work at a nonprofit? Isn't that going against the whole
charity?
Yeah.
Charity, yeah.
But if you weren't there doing this work, those proceeds and that tremendous positive impact that you're having on the community would not exist.
No, people would be running around like crazy with their like just trying to figure out how to get
how do I get food? How do I get food?
Right now, we have a very vivid, a very visual example of the difference.
Yes.
On the news right now, you see these communities where people are just waiting in line miles long, waiting for a box of food that may or may not have any food in it by the time it's their turn.
Hopeful that they're going to get something to eat.
If we hadn't invested in the infrastructure, that's what it would be like here.
Exactly.
But it's not. Instead, people shop online. In 8 days, when COVID hit, in 8 days, we launched an online shopping portal so people can go online, register for the program, because we do.
Did you sleep it all over those 8 days? Were you just like grinding it out?
No, it was a couple months maybe when none of us slept, but that's okay. And I'm catching up on it now.
You look great for a couple months of no sleep.
Now, that was like
refreshed,
a year ago. That was
vibrant.
It's all good.
Yeah.
And people shop online. They still get to choose. I am not giving them a pre-packed box of God knows what that they have to convince their 5-year-old to eat. And no food's going to waste. They pick what they want. They make an appointment for the next day. So when everybody else couldn't get an appointment at the grocery store for like 2 weeks, your Instacart, it's like, oh, I placed my Instacart groceries, and it comes 3 weeks later.
Somebody cancels so you can get in.
This is tomorrow. You have a 15-minute appointment. You show up. A wonderful volunteer comes and puts it in your trunk, and you drive away. It's all good.
You love, you love this.
This is
you
how
love
life should
what
be.
you're doing.
I do love what I'm doing.
Like when you're actually talking about the process, the smile takes over your face. It is glowing. It's beautiful.
And in a year like now, this is like, yes, I guess that's how powerful it is. Then in a year like we've had,
you're valuable.
Still every day, the best of humanity. Yeah.
You give a lot. Do you like to get gifts? Are you into gifts?
It depends.
All right.
Depends on what the gift is. My great grandmother used to give us like the jelly packets from Denny's. She would give us like a bag.
That's a gift. That's not a gift. From Denny's.
Yeah.
Put them in her purse when she goes there. Yeah.
So it depends on what the gift is, but I like to give.
Can I give you a gift?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. Is it gonna jump? Is it alive? It won't jump out at me, will it?
Nothing is alive in there. I would not do that. I'm too sweet.
Do you want me to open it now?
Yeah, open it. I want you to just delve right into that. Lyndsey Haight.
It's a weird thing, like people don't open gifts anymore. I'm like,
I can put the gift to the side until later. I'm like, what? I hand you the gift. I want it opened immediately.
Oh, is this some gear?
Yeah, let's
I've been looking on your website, and I was going to actually ask you if you had this stuff here tonight. This is awesome.
There you go.
I love this stuff.
I love you for loving that. There you go. There's a hat for you.
Awesome. I'm not pull these off, but
plus
my
your
kids
hair is so hip.
Well, right.
That's what I'm saying.
Fit.
So like, yeah, I was like, her hair is too good for the hat, but your kid can get in on it.
Oh, good.
Keep digging in there.
We're big stickers.
I want you to just go through the whole thing.
And I can share this with my peeps.
You do whatever you got to do. There's no commitment with it.
What is this?
It's just some tea.
Some tea. Nice.
Yeah. You know, keep it calm, keep it easy.
You gotta
I like
keep
the color of the
coming.
package.
It's very on brand. For
yeah.
And a pencil.
A pencil. Take a closer look at that pencil. Steve's Magazine. Andrew Bablow. You know I love you.
The bullshit maker.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know swearing on air is not my public brand, but
everybody knows what
lots of bullshit,
sweetheart you
still
are.
Plenty of BS. Running low on B. Oh, I see. So when you're sharpening the pencil,
yeah,
right.
It took you a little bit to pull it together, but you got it.
I am getting older that I have to hold it away from my face. I don't need glasses yet. The eye doctor said.
You look so young. You look young. You look great.
Well, you know.
There's a beer from Riverwalk Brewing, a yacht rocker.
I love Riverwalk. The guys over at Riverwalk have been great supporters of our neighbor's table.
And they originated in your lovely town of Amesbury.
They did. I know. And then they moved over to Newburyport. That's all right. That's all right. Oh. You're doing a good thing for the world. You are appreciated. Peace, health, Michael Bernier.
I wrote you a note.
You made me a card. I love handmade cards. As a parent, I've really come to love handmade cards. And some more gear. Awesome. See,
there's a t-shirt for you, Involvement Music in the building.
Nice.
Love it, love it.
Oh, V-neck.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a gift to give to one of your children.
There's a lot of gifts here. You weren't.
I like you a lot.
Wow, thank
you.
Yeah, you had to pack the box already. You didn't even know. I could have turned out to be a real.
No. I checked on you. I told you already. I checked some references.
I had some people willing to put their names up.
They did.
So I should share some of this with Julia.
Yeah.
And Eli. Some music.
Some music for you.
Plenty of time to listen to that these days.
Yeah. If you still have a CD player in the house.
Are you right? Like, we have a PlayStation. I was like, how can...
I don't even know what that is.
Honey, how can I listen to music anymore?
PlayStation.
And so that's like...
That's the tool? That's the medium?
My husband is really into video games.
Wow.
And so... What's this fab shirt down here?
Boom! So, a part of the Offering Something program is every guest that comes in the room gets a piece of my personal old clothing. Say, was this Eli's?
No,
it looks like an Eli jam, right? You can see him with all his gel in his hair. So I've actually bought that for myself at some point, and I tried to wear it on several occasions. I couldn't do it.
It would be like a real formal occasion.
I have no idea. You're just like, I like that. And then you just can't wear it. Yeah. So instead of just, I wanted to give it to somebody with a little hope, a little shimmer that it might get used again. Or you might just throw it in, into the recycling bin or whatever you do.
It's like when I went away to college, I brought with me like a shirt from a boyfriend. And I would wear it.
I don't know how it's like that.
And then I was like, okay. I'm going to stop wearing this now.
Yeah.
But I won't wear this around. Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Let's step into a different place here. Okay. Where do you find the motivation, the drive, the relentless passion to keep on doing this? Where does that come from? How a lot of people want to take their go to work, get out of work, not think about work. You have this other part of you that's on it. You're just continuously on it, putting in work when you're not at work. It's all the same thing. Where does this drive come from with you?
I don't know.
Why aren't you just lazy? Why can't sit still? We know this about you. You don't want to be locked in the house.
In COVID, I cannot be in the house. I don't know. I can't.
So fortunately, you didn't have to stay in the house the whole time. You had you're right.
For the sake of my marriage and my children's livelihood.
No one wants to be in the house with you all day.
Nobody wants to be in the house with me. They're like, go to work, Mom. I don't know. I mean, I think a sense of productivity has just always been a part of who I am, being the oldest, being
like you're setting an example. Are you constantly setting an example, or you just you feel good when you're productive?
I feel good. I mean, I think, like I said, I got my first job in the 5th grade.
Yeah, look
and
at you.
And I've had to work. I mean, it's been necessity.
What was that, the Lowell Sun? You were out there delivering?
Yeah, the big yellow bags, Sunday papers, man. They were the worst. In the snow, in the rain, it didn't matter. Dog bites, didn't matter. So there was always a necessity to work. And so I think that I just, I mean, I had a loving family, but economically we had a really tough time. And I think for me, like, being productive was just a way to tune out anything else. Parents getting divorced and things like that. I just focused on being productive. And, let's be real. As you get older, like,
what
I was that
you
girl at the party where I could, I couldn't turn the justice mind off. So I'm,
what do you mean?
What's her name?
You just
on
keep
Saturday
talking
Night
about
Live?
it. People are like, yo, can we just like have a party without
and I'm like,
talking
but
about
do
it
you
all?
know, I don't eat meat and, all this stuff. And this was like back before being a vegetarian
is
was the
Lyndsey
trend.
gonna be there? Yeah, nope, not going.
I think that might have been
You were
a
that
thing.
girl?
I might have been that girl. I try not to be. I mean, I'm, I actually.
Do you find yourself doing that now? Sometimes you're in a conversation and you're like, wow, I wouldn't want to hang out with me, but I'm still needing to get this out.
It's funny because I think I knew how people reacted, and so I kind of shut it off. And so sometimes now, because people in the area, they know me through my work.
Yeah.
And
you're
I actually love, like, one of my happy places going to New Orleans, and my family that lives down there. I go down there every year, so I'm missing that this year. Like, when I shut it off, I have to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
And I think for some people it's surprising that they want to talk to me about our neighbor's table. They want to talk to me about volunteering, whatever. And I'm like, fine with that. I want to talk about it, but it is my day job. And right now there's such a fever for justice.
Correct. There certainly is.
And I think that it's important. It's about time. And I'm happy to be a part of that work wherever I can be.
Right.
I don't know. I still struggle to find the balance where I can, sort of let loose and be me. And this is the first time I've ever lived, and now it's been 11 years, but that I live and work in the in that was how I did it. I lived one place and I worked somewhere else.
Yep.
So they didn't really interact.
How do you feel about that? Is it fully transparent? Like, you feel like, wow, these people.
I'll tell you I
have to maintain my public persona.
Right.
Yeah.
When I first got the job, before that, my husband and I both worked in the city. We worked in Boston, or I worked across the country.
Yeah.
So we were anonymous, and we were commuters, so we didn't cook, and we would close, the barking dog, the ale house. We had a stool in every place. And when I got the job, I remember Lisa, who was the manager at, I guess it was the ale house back then, and we walked in at like 8:00 at night, and she was like, "Oh, Lyndsey, I didn't know you got that job." I said, "What job?" She said, "You took Rosie's place."
Oh,
I'm like,
gosh.
How did you?
Because Rosie knows everybody.
That? And she showed me the newspaper. It was in the middle of the Olympics, and I was above the fold on the front page.
Wow. Above the fold status.
My picture was bigger than the guy from, is it Salisbury or Seabrook, who won the bronze in snowboarding? He's
Scotty
a local
Lego?
guy.
Yes.
Forget.
Sure.
My picture was bigger than his.
Good golly. Look at you.
I looked at my husband, George, and I said,
something wrong with this town.
2 beers and we're going home. Like, that's it. And
we got to go.
There were just certain things that we used to do. And, we just have to behave a little bit more. We keep our circles in. And I think, the bottom line, in public or in private, I'm a good person.
Yeah,
right?
okay. Let's make that clear.
I think
you don't need to hide out, but sometimes it's nice to have less conversations.
Everybody who knows me knows you get me. Like I'm not a pretend person, which is why Zoom meetings are so bad because you can't hide your face. But I just have to, I want people to trust that I'm doing right. They're investing. Like
I
they're
think
asking
that comes
me to
across with your
steward
character.
that. Yeah, I think they want. I have to steward their resources. They are committed to food security. This community, this region is committed to food security. And they have said, I am a viable place to put their investment. So
let's talk on that there. In 2018, Amesbury was declared as Our Neighbors Table's first food secure city, right?
Yes.
First food secure city. What does that mean? I know it's one of your greatest accomplishments. Explain what that means, actually, to be a food secure city.
It means food is universally available to anyone and everyone when and where they need it. So whether you can afford to go to a restaurant or buy it at a grocery store, or you need a little help, and you can't afford any of that and you need it for free, no matter what age you are, whether it's something you're dealing with every day or it's just a temporary crisis, food is available to you. And good food security means that you have reliable access to quality food to support a healthy lifestyle.
Wow.
So it's not just like that you can fill up with mac and cheese and
gotcha.
ramen.
Yeah.
Those have their place.
Healthy
but you
diet.
have a healthy diet so that you can get good quality food.
So as a result of, to put this very clearly, as a result of the efforts that you're behind through Our Neighbors Table, no one in Amesbury is going hungry unless they choose to do so.
Right. And there are lots of people who are everybody will go to every length they can to not have to come and use a program like ours. Yep. But once they're ready and once they say to someone, hey, and what a lot of people will do is, my sister is on hard times and she's too embarrassed to come, but I'm going to bring her home food. And we say, okay, bring her home food.
Yeah, man, do what you got to do. Yeah.
So yeah, nobody goes hungry in Amesbury.
So that's an amazing accomplishment. Congratulations on that. That's very real.
It's
things
a
that
milestone.
matter.
It's not over it. We have to keep sustaining it, right?
Correct. So, of course, you have to sustain it. But to even get there means you're always kind of close to there to some degree. And that's a major accomplishment. It's a real thing, something that you've done that matters. People can have food as a result of your and your staff's efforts. That's epic. Like that's real stuff. Tangible. You can't eat. Now you can because of things that other humans did. And that's amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
It is.
You hear that all the time, but I got to just say it to you. What are the ways that other people in the community can actually help Our Neighbors Table? Not looking for a job there, but they're like, it's something I can do to help out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality is that Our Neighbors Table exists because so many people in the community, and this is well beyond Amesbury. We serve 12 cities and towns all the way down to Boxford and Rowley.
Run through the names of those towns because I don't think we've mentioned those.
I have to do it alphabetically or I forget. Amesbury, Boxford, Byfield, Georgetown, Groveland, Merrimack, Newburyport, Rowley, Salisbury, Southampton, New Hampshire, and West Newbury. So our dinner is open to anyone and everyone. We don't care where you live. We don't care what your story is. Come have dinner. Now it's takeout during COVID. But our groceries, our markets, we've got one in Amesbury. We had one in Newburyport, which is temporarily operating out of our truck because of COVID.
Correct. Yep.
And then we do some pop-up markets in Merrimack and Amesbury, which are also kind of altered right now, turned into home delivery programs because of COVID. And we deliver all over the region.
Have you seen a lot of volunteers stepping up to assist with these kinds of delivering the food and that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we do, actually just tonight I did a volunteer orientation, so we do it virtually. We lost 60% of our volunteer force with the onset of COVID because most people are older or their parents who are home during the day and now all of a sudden have kids to take care of. And so I would just say, our work happens because the community believes in universal food access and believes that food is a human right. And so whether it's they're giving their time or they're giving money, it's all devoted, or they're giving food or whatever. They're devoting this to make this happen.
So in your experience, the people in Amesbury, they care, they want to help, and they want to support.
The people all over. I mean, originally we were very much an Amesbury organization. Yep. When we opened the Jarvis Taylor Center, it was like our coming out party.
Sorry to keep tying you to this epicenter of Amesbury.
Now Amesbury residents actually only make up, we're still serving 1 out of 10 people, but they only make up like less than 40% of the people we serve. Yeah. So Salisbury and Newburyport are we served almost 1,000 people in Newburyport last year. Yeah. We served over 1,000 in Salisbury. Wow, that's like more than 1 out of 6 in Salisbury. Yeah. And similar numbers in Merrimack.
Good golly.
So people come from all over, and we're getting out to them. But we have volunteers and donors who come from all over the region who are participating in.
Do you feel a lot of people aren't aware that it's that real? Like in Salisbury, that 1 out of 6 people need assistance with getting food or having access to food?
Yeah, and it's more than that. 1 out of 6 is actually getting help.
Right,
and there are those people who aren't. Absolutely. And that's a big part of our work, is just raising awareness.
So what are your efforts to raise awareness, and what are the efforts that you have seen that have been the most successful?
I think...
Is it just marketing? Are there events?
Word of mouth is really powerful, and finding the right mouths who command a lot of influence.
Are you out
in
there
the
tracking
area.
down mouths?
We are.
Is that something you're doing?
I'm beating the drum. There are a lot of people.
Is that how you got here? Yeah, you did have a team of people hitting me up.
There were a few people.
I questioned it. I was a little suspect. I told you. Why are all these people telling me to have her on the show?
But word of mouth is by far the biggest. But we have to compete with the noise. And
of course.
So, we have a social media presence, so people can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can tell that's not my...
I don't really do that.
I have some
wonderful know we have
young people around me who can just command that. And volunteers who amplify our message online.
Yep, of course.
We have community events. The local media has been really wonderful to us. I was actually just on Local Pulse with Joe DeBiase here in Newburyport.
I know
he
Joe.
Has me on a bunch throughout the year.
He's a good guy.
He's a great guy, and I love hanging out with him and Greg.
Good, fun, ququirky. I love Greg. He's the peanut gallery in that operation.
They're so fun. They had this young guy helping him out, this young student last year.
Good people. I love them.
The newspaper. Yep. I done some interviews on iHeartRadio and. Dana Marshall from the
Love
River.
Dana. Dana's
She's
been
on
right
our
here
board.
too.
I told her the other night, I said, I'm coming to sit down with Michael's
Bernier. Crazy. Like, you're gonna love it.
Yeah. So she's on our board, and she MCs our annual breakfast every year, and she does some PSAs for us. The River sponsors that. So
what a nice woman.
We have to use every channel, every channel we have, just like you.
Yeah, of course.
Get out there.
So when you're not ONT, when you're not doing this, when it's your time, not even any no family around, what are you passionate about? Like, what are you trying to do with your day? Tomorrow you're sleeping, I come slap you in the face, right? And I'm like, wake up, you can do anything. I would never slap you in the face. Wake up, you can do anything you want. It's all you. What are you gonna do with your day?
Well, if I only had one day,
let's make it months.
I do love to travel. And,
traveling.
And we've tried to instill that in our kids too. And my husband's family lives across
one of the
different
best
areas
things
of the country.
You can do for a human.
To see. I think.
Submerge yourself in new ways of living, new norms.
If everyone got out of their state, several times a year, and just saw, even within this country, how different life is.
Yes. Yes.
And appreciate that. Yes. There's
travel.
So I love to travel. I mentioned before, I love to go to New Orleans. I have family that lives down there.
What is it? Is it the party vibe there? Is it the music? Is it like just
food?
The wilding?
Oh my God. The food is
like
to
so
die
much
for.
Life.
I started going there in 1997, I think, was my first time going
you were like
down
3
there.
years old.
No,
Yeah.
it was only like 2.
Yeah.
But I have an uncle who that was his last station in the military, and so my cousins live down there, and I don't know, I just fell in love with it. And so we go down for Jazz Fest every year, every spring. My son was born in February, and I took him to Jazz Fest in April.
Wow.
So he was like this big.
He was there,
like make sure nobody stepped on
in.
him, and he was all sweaty. And so I love everything about it. I love the culture, like just the way of life. I love the food. I love the music. I love the grittiness. I don't know. It's like my happy place.
Let's go from your happy place of Nolans
to
Amesbury. And
my other happy place.
What? Yeah. Tell me what it is you love about Amesbury. Amesbury, Massachusetts. What do you love about it? Tell me.
Ooh, now.
Yeah.
Like my neighbors are watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
walk that line you have to walk. Here we go now. Let's see.
All right. In
Am
full
I allowed to say the
transparency-
coffee shop I really love or the one that supports me?
In full
golly, how'd I get in this
transparency,
situation?
You know, sometimes I think I ran away from my home small town and ended up just living in someone else's. And especially living and working there, sometimes I have to remind myself to leave town, right? Leave. Like, you remember, just go over the bridge, do something.
Townie in a new town? Is that?
Like, yeah,
that could be the name of the album.
I'm raising townies, right? My kids are going to be townies. And
these are the things that keep you up at night.
What I love, about Amesbury is that they're a community of doers. Like, and I've said this many times, and I've had great relationships with the current mayor and the previous mayor, and city leaders. People are willing to walk the walk.
Yeah.
Like, you have squawkers. Yeah, you always have, social media gives everybody a
Amesbury Talks is out there. Yeah.
But people are willing to roll up their sleeves and get stuff done. And the other cool thing about Amesbury is it's like, yes, you have people who are, 10th generation Amesbury families. Right. But you also have this cool mixture of people who have come from all over the world. Correct. And have lived and experienced different places. People who grew up in Amesbury and left and came back. So, I think there's a certain sense of awareness. And we're doing some cool stuff to just always
Is there any
improve
beauty?
ourselves.
Is there any history? Do you care about any of that? Do you like the restaurants? Do you not go to the restaurants?
I do go to the restaurants. Yeah. I mean, not right now. I mean, we do takeout. Yeah. And so
are you allowed to say your go-to restaurants?
I'll say all of them. I mean, right?
All of them. What a classic answer.
Just last last weekend, we got takeout from Fat Cats, which is right around the corner from my house. I love Paul and Christina.
Yes.
I mean, gosh, now I've been in Amesbury for 15 years, so I think someone else has replaced my butt imprint on the stools at the Ale House and the Barking Dog, but that kind of comes with parenthood. Yeah. But my kids were in the Carriers, and we, probably 2 weeks ago, I had a burger from the dog. Yeah. Burritos from Hoppy's, and Crave is reopening this weekend. Wow. And the bakehouse, Ovidia.
So you're not totally tied to one location. You bounce around. You check the spots.
I don't like to do the same thing twice too much.
What do you think about Amesbury Days? You love it? It's so good, or do you think it needs tremendous improvement?
It's funny. I'm often not around for Amesbury Days, or like I'll be there for part of it.
I feel like you'd be out there showing your face and waving your flags.
I have avoided the dunk tank at Amesbury Days.
Wow,
I have managed that. I've been asked, and I'm like,
that's right in front of where your old location was.
I actually have been at
a dunk tank, and now it's still
there,
only like 100 steps from your new place.
Yeah. So
you were in the dunk tank?
For an ONT event, our 25th anniversary, we actually had a volunteer in her 80s. She jumped out of a big homemade cake, like a big cardboard
What was
cake.
she wearing?
She's wearing like a red sweater. Gloria. Okay. God bless her. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. I miss her because I haven't seen her in so long. And then I got in a dunk tank, and it was cold.
Yeah.
It was like in May, but it was
Where did that water come
degrees. I don't know.
What kind of water was that? Was it salty?
It was hose water.
It was hose water. Okay.
And I think I was the first one in the dunk.
You were you hope you were the first one in.
Yeah.
It's just keep telling yourself that.
Got in after me, but it was cold. My thighs were hurting
She's
the next
got
day because every
whatever
time
you
you went
have.
down, you spring yourself back up. Yeah. Amesbury Days is fun. You know, I mean, it's fun to have those small town things. That fireball run or something, that car race across the country to find
cool.
exploited kids, an important cause. And
I was on the other side of it. I was working with that crew, so it was a little.
Well, then they brought that the DeLorean,
a little wild, yeah.
The DeLorean from Back to the Future.
And it rained.
That was fun. Oh, yeah. Well, the first year was nice, but maybe the second year or vice versa.
Yeah. Anyhow.
So Amesbury is cool. It's just, you know, it's got a lot of great artists. The art walk. Every November, I've been doing that. The trolley drives by my house. I get on it with my son.
You get on a trolley from right in front of
my house, and then we go around to all the studios.
That's cool than your old towny spot.
With my son since he was little. And,
did you give him a name?
Every year,
did you give him a name?
My son?
Yeah.
George. He's George the Fifth.
George the Fifth.
George the Fifth. Yeah. Yeah, George.
You either do that or you don't. That's how it works.
I wasn't going to be the one to break the chain. I wasn't going to tell my mother-in-law I'm not breaking that tradition.
Sorry, dude. What's his middle name?
Steiner.
Do you call him Steiner?
Only when he's in trouble.
Oh. Wow. Yeah. Where do you find your inspiration? Do you look at people? Is there people that are speakers that you draw from to bring? Do you ever seek inspiration? Is this something you need? Who do you look to?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I always
who set you
I
on
like
fire?
People who are real.
Who's real?
You know, like just people who are walking the walk.
Yeah.
You know, I think.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. Who are those people?
I was careful not to idolize people. I think Rosie Werner is somebody who I really have so much respect for, and of course now she's retired, so she's moved to Florida. You know, this might be controversial to say.
Let's get controversial here.
Controversial. But really from my college days, you know, I was in college in the 90s and
listening to Pearl Jam.
Following Hillary Clinton since then. And I actually had some professors who worked closely with her and President Bill Clinton.
You love Hillary Clinton?
Yes. I mean, I was definitely heartbroken. I mean, I was deeply heartbroken.
Deeply heartbroken when she wasn't.
And you know, Senator Clinton, if you're listening, I mean, I actually listened to her podcast, and you know, I think, you know, I don't know. I hear people, but I just see how committed and determined she has been on behalf of justice for people. And does it mean that she's perfect? Is anyone perfect? No. But she's a pragmatic. She's results oriented, and I think we fight for the same things. And so she's just always been someone I've had so much respect for and look up to, and so you know, so she is somebody. Right now, Stacey Abrams totally kicks ass. I mean, I made my first meme. I don't do that.
Wow. Let's hear all about your first meme.
I started a Twitter account so that I could post this picture of Stacey Abrams getting Gatorade splashed over her head after January 6th.
Wow. You felt great, and then somebody liked it, and you're like, creep.
I don't know. Somebody I don't know. He didn't even like that. I don't know. He started following me, and I thought, oh, I don't know. This weirds me out. But so she is, I think, just formidable. And
like, do you geek out on YouTube at the end of the night, and you're like, I want to watch somebody tell me something that's gonna make me feel some kind of way?
No. I mean, honestly, I find so much inspiration from the people that surround me every single day.
That's wonderful.
I mean, people who give of their time and are committed to walking in solidarity with their neighbors. So sometimes I just get home and I watch crap television, or I do word puzzles with my 7-year-old who is like crazy smart.
You got the genius kid.
I got the genius kid. I got 2 genius kids, but this one in particular, he's just got that stroke of genius. Yeah.
Do you take care of yourself? You exercise? You eat healthy?
You know, like everybody, not as much as I should. But I love to do yoga. and I was a runner for 30 years, and then
You said was. I had to notice
had
that,
an
so that means
injury,
okay.
And tried to get back into it and
Can't
hurt myself
run
again. I don't know. It's where I find peace, solitude.
I love running. That's my favorite. It's like the number one.
Yeah. So I learned to ski like 5 years ago.
And how do you feel about skiing?
Anything that gets me in the outdoors, like anything that gets me outside. And why will I not move to the tropics? Because I love the winter. I love snow. What we see
enjoy
outside.
That out there?
I don't like brown mud season, but I love snow and
some hot sun. Hot sun.
So I do love the hot sun, but I appreciate it because I also love winter. I'm a Libra, so I have to have balance.
Yeah. So you seem happy. Like, are you happy? You feel pretty happy? You go to bed at night. You're not really too worried. Do you get to fall right asleep? How long is the process?
It depends on the day. It
2
depends
minutes?
on how much coffee
20?
I had.
Okay. You feel at peace?
I'm
for
a
the
night
most part?
person, but yeah. I feel good about my state in the universe.
Yeah.
And of course, I have stress, but I am.
What are the stresses? What are the major stresses in your life?
Well, providing for your family and, keeping ONT afloat and keeping everyone at ONT safe and, all of the division in the country right now stresses me out a lot. And,
is it all consuming all of your life where your mood is being altered as a result of it? Or are you still finding that you are the positive, happy, you're kind of the sunshine that walks into the room vibe going on, right?
I think I usually am. I am probably annoyingly so the optimist. To maybe some of my siblings and my husband sometimes. I'm always like, gotta be constructive and optimistic. Yeah, it's gonna be fine.
Enough with you. It's not gonna be fine. Can something go wrong, please?
Right. Can we just be awful for a minute?
So what's next? Is it like ONT, what's going on for the rest of your life? Or do you have some other great vision? Maybe you can't talk about that while they're watching, but it's okay.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, my days are amazing.
Yeah.
There's definitely other things out there for me. And like I told you before, maybe I'll dabble in a podcast or something.
Yeah.
A friend of mine are kind of talk about something.
I can see you doing some sort of political effort.
Yeah,
you have like, in a very kind way, you seem like you have the ability to fulfill that role. I
don't know.
It's hard to say that without feeling like I'm not being nice, but I'm really saying a nice thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I ran for class president twice in high school.
Yeah.
And I got shot down.
Wow.
It was scarring. I felt like I could, maybe that's why I relate to Hillary.
What was your hairstyle like then?
Oh, it was always changing.
It was always changing. How long has it been like
your
this?
Color. Let's see, the hawk I got not that long ago.
The
actually,
hawk?
like
Is that what that's called?
Well,
This is referred to as a hawk?
When I first got it,
What's
it was
up,
more of like a
hawk?
hawk.
Actually, was like bleached blonde?
Before that, it was black.
Okay.
And then it went bleached blonde. And I mean, it's funny. So last year for my 10th anniversary at ONT, they made these collages and stuff. And it was like 10 years of hairstyles. Like it is a thing. It's a thing. But it's okay. It's like, it's a form of expression.
Is it going to be long again?
Cheaper than a wardrobe. I don't know.
Really digging this.
It's so easy now, I mean,
I'll tell you, you walk in with that hairstyle, and I like it. I'm like, and this isn't to be upsetting to anybody else, but when you walk in with your hair, I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to see. I like it.
It makes a statement.
I like it.
So a year ago, or I guess 2 years ago now, we were up for a big grant, and we had to pitch for it.
Yeah.
We had to go to like this pitch event with the United Way in Boston.
And you were the speaker?
I brought a whole team. I brought a pediatrician. I brought the public health nurse from Newburyport, and Ginny Aramo owns Interlock Spa in Newburyport. She was on my board at the time, so she
Ginny's
some of our staff came.
Corporate boat parties, something like this.
I haven't been invited to those, Ginny. Are you watching, Ginny?
Super elite,
when those
Ginny.
happen again. And we actually kind of jokingly credited the hawk.
Oh,
if I was sitting up there and I just had kind of like my mousy brown hair and whatever,
It'd be easier to
I'd be like
really
everybody else
attention.
on the panel, right? But but I had my hair.
It's you though.
Attention.
You look like you're being yourself.
The guy who cuts my hair, can I plug aimlessly?
Plug that guy. Who is that guy? Where is he?
Ralph Martinezzi.
Ralph
owns
Martinezzi?
Sanctuary Hair Studio. He grew up in Methuen.
Kid down the valley.
But I met him in Portsmouth. He had a salon in downtown Portsmouth. I lived right upstairs, and I was looking for a new stylist. And I said, hey, this is 2003. I said, okay, give me a little trim, see what happens. And now here we are.
Wow.
18 years later.
And you still go to the same gentleman?
And he's moved like 3 times. So he's moved his salon, and I'll follow him wherever. I mean,
anywhere
we have a special connection.
I'll follow you, barber. Stylist.
I'll leave the singing.
So, there's a reason that I asked you to come here today. There's 2 reasons. Okay? First, I'm so proud of you as a human being that you have, first, you just developed a passion, and then you didn't let it sit there and bother you because you weren't doing anything. Found passion, pursued, attacked, and created impact. That is awesome. Not everybody gets to go through that process. A lot of people figure out what they're into, and then they don't do anything with it, or they wish they did. Or even beyond that, people don't even know what their passion is. You found passion, executed. Awesome. I love you for that. It's amazing. And the second thing is that your passion that you've pursued and the individual that you are is one that has a positive impact. You're helping humans in a real, tangible, this is what we did way. There's no gray. How did that do? Clearly helping people. You don't have to do that. Nobody has to do. You could live your own life, go get another job, and probably make more money and not have to think about anything or develop all these emotional connections. But you choose to do what you're doing because you're a good person. You're offering something. I love you for it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm comfortable to tell you that. I know we met today.
We did meet today.
Really don't even know who you are, except I do feel like I know you because
we got to hang out a little bit and no, I thank you. I appreciate that. And, I think you can relate that when you find your passion, you can't imagine doing anything else. And going back to Hillary Clinton, I just started listening to her.
Hillary Clinton.
I just started listening to her podcast.
Now I'm maybe I should learn something about this woman
I
because
don't have time. You should. You should.
I mean,
she's a person who walks the walk.
That's my homework.
People are turned off by her for whatever reason. Whatever. I'm going to leave that out there. But she is a person who walks the walk and has walked the walk her entire life. And I'm just learning about podcasts.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of free time. And it's like in the shower or when I walk to work is when I can listen to a podcast. And I just found hers. And this morning I was listening to the one from September. She was interviewing Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris. And Vice President Harris was talking about her mother in the sense of duty. And she said it so perfectly this morning. And she's like, when you have this sense of duty, you don't have a choice.
Right.
It's not what you choose to do. It's not your hobby. It's not even just a passion. It is this innate sense of duty that you have to do this.
Yeah.
And so there is no other thing that you can do. And I was like, oh my God, you just said it. That is how I have felt since I was 10 years old. And
you have a calling to this duty.
Yeah.
You just do it.
Yeah. So you don't have a choice. And I mean, thank God what my duty is my kids are going to watch this and say, Mom, you said duty. But I have a duty to do something good.
Yeah.
To do something good. Yeah.
Let's play a game.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you're comfortable
is this one of those fast rounds I saw you?
It's going to be bad questions.
Okay.
Don't think too much.
All right.
Try to enjoy. It's called Fast, Fun, and Not So Smart.
Okay.
You got it?
Got it.
It's all right. It's clever.
It's like the opposite of me. Like I'm a smarty pants and I am slow. My whole family will tell you I am a dawdler.
Slow pants.
I'm a slow. I can be fun too.
Here we go.
Right,
you
go
have
ahead.
to answer the questions. You don't have to do anything in this world. I don't know why I said that.
I'll participate. Go
Do
ahead.
whatever you like to do, my friend. Here we go. Best restaurant in Amesbury, Massachusetts.
Oh, dang it.
Answer.
Ovidia.
Ovidia. Favorite warm weather location.
New Orleans.
Yes, it is. We kind of knew this already. You have one meal left to eat. What is it going to be? Lyndsey Haight.
It's got to be like some kind of pasta, and if my nanny could come back and make her sauce, it would be
Nanny sauce on
Try to
some
replicate
pasta.
it, but it's hard.
Oh, if you had to eliminate one state in the United States of America, which state would it be? Don't think too much. This is fun. Come on,
the
sweetie.
State of ignorance.
Wow, look at that. She's clever. Deflection, is that what we call that? You see, you can be a politician. I told you so.
Every state is beautiful, even Nebraska.
Wow, so I guess Nebraska would be the first to go. Current favorite musician? I don't even listen to.
Do they have to be a current? I just came back to
No,
REM.
I meant like to you. Currently, what is?
I
who
just
is your
came back
favorite
to
musician?
REM.
REM.
I haven't listened to them in like 20
no, I'm
years.
sad. That's good.
And like listening to their early stuff.
I love it. I think it's a good choice.
I don't know. I was like, I miss them. It's been a long time. So
Nice
I'm
job
gonna
with
go
that.
with them.
What's one thing that you wish would come to Amesbury? Like a park, a restaurant, anything that you wish was just in Amesbury. Amesbury needs, dude, you know what they need here? And I can't understand why they don't have it. What is it?
Like good. And I don't mean disrespect to the current restaurants, but like any kind, like good Indian food, good like Caribbean food, like good like street food, good.
Yeah.
You know,
is there no
authentic.
Indian restaurant in your town?
Not
or
in
there's
Amesbury.
No good
there are a couple
one?
in Newburyport.
Yes, there
is
are.
not one in Amesbury. So you asked what should come to Amesbury.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And
some
Indian there's like
food.
everybody's got similar menus, which is fine, and they all do it a little bit different. But I miss like I worked for 8 years in Dorchester, and you could get food from all over the world.
Are
like,
we still in the game?
Legit. I don't know. Are we? See, I told you I'm slow. I'm a talker.
Last question. You happy here? You glad you came, or are you wondering what went on tonight?
I was nervous.
Why?
I've seen your lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some cool people who sat in this chair.
Don't take yourself with. You're a powerful woman.
You
deserve to be where you
it's
are
just
right
like
now.
different kinds of people who have sat in this chair, and I thought, wow, this is like there's sort of a trend, and I might buck the trend a little bit, but it's cool. But you had Dan Pallotta in this chair, so that's cool.
Yeah, he wasn't on this show, but he was in that chair in this room.
I don't know. Okay, I don't know what y'all were doing in this room.
Well, thanks for playing. Thanks for being here in the room today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great to meet you.
I appreciate it. It was great to meet you too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that.
We'll meet again, right? This will not be the last time.
And if we don't, we won't. But I think we will.
I can take a hint. See, I'm not good.
I normally right here. I love you. Okay.
Sorry, I'm talking over you. My husband will tell you it's my worst quality.
He loves you, though. He loves you for it. If you didn't do it, something would be wrong. What's going on here? She's not talking.
Yeah.
Normally, I would ask you to plug your Instagram situation, get people how do they connect with you, but you do whatever you would do here for. Go ahead.
So people can follow us on ourneighborstable.org. We are on Facebook, Our Neighbors Table, like the R.
I know, it's just the R.
It had to be that way.
It's on Instagram,
Twitter,
too. It's
Instagram,
with just the R.
We're on all of that. But ourneighborstable.org, you can connect with us. If you live locally in the greater Newburyport area, come, get involved, volunteer.
What's the address? Can you say that? You can say that. What's the address?
Yeah, our main office is at 194 Main Street in Amesbury, but don't come visit us now. We're kind of locked down to keep people out so we can keep our operations
come
safe.
Knock on the windows and wave.
But hey, there might be some of your listeners who are really in dire straits right now.
Yeah, so where do they go to arrange to get the food?
Go to ourneighborstable.org/get food. And right there you can register.
Is that the actual word, our?
It's our, O-U-R.
Neighbors.
NEIGHBORSTABLE.
Get it close and Google, find it.
If you just Google Our Neighbor's Table, we're really, we're savvy and smart about our search engine optimization.
Yeah.
So we should come up
first. You got people doing that for you.
You got to know your strengths and find the people to complement them. So ourneighborstable.org/getfood. You go on there. There's a link for new registrations. Fill that out real quick. And within 24 hours, you can place your order for groceries and pick up the next day. We got everything you need.
Yeah, and
it's discreet.
Like if you're in need, that's it.
Yeah.
It's discreet, but feel good about it. It's there for you. It's an amazing resource. I love you for it. Our Neighbor's Table. Good golly. I think I'm done here.
Okay. Gosh, I thought, good? How would we pass the time? And here we are.
I know, and it's
been like 3 hours.
Good golly.
I'm a talker.
Oh, so yeah. We're ready to close this out. I feel good about it.
All right.
I love you, Lyndsey Haight. We didn't talk about how your last name is Haight. It's just like...
Isn't it ironic?
Yes, it is, Alanis. It really is.
I had a similar... My partner before I got married had a similar last name. It was like, it's weird.
Similar? We're not going to say it.
I wouldn't want to say it.
Okay, let's not say it then. Okay. Yeah, this part's real normal.
Had the word hate in it.
Okay.
It's weird. So it's ironic. That's all right. My love is powerful enough.
You are beautiful, Lyndsey Haight. Definitely. Thanks for being here. I love you, love you, love you. This is Offering Something. I am your host, Michael Bernier. Still feeling so good to be alive. Still so much love for our super sweet support system. Enjoy Your Life brand. Everything at Enjoy Your Life brand. Riverwalk Brewing Company at Riverwalk Brewing and the Higher Education Music and Arts Festival at highereducationmusicfest.com. Click subscribe. I love you. I love you, Lyndsey. Thank you for being here today. You're a good human. And we're signing off. Peace.